How you doing, sir?
Just fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing outstanding. So today I want to discuss states. And when we're talking about states, how people can enter a state of desired change and leave that state of undesired change, as it were. So talk to us about states.
Actually, the Bible is about states of consciousness. That's what everybody is in, a state of consciousness. And whatever you're doing in your world of consciousness is what you're doing. And so when you change your mind, you change your world. But people think changing their mind is what they're going to have for dinner tonight. And yeah, you can do that too. But you have a future with you right now. It's now, right? This very moment, this hour, this is the perfect hour for starting a new life. And all you do is that you change your mind, change your world. And the first does the second. So that you're not struggling to make it so. You're only standing on what you have already said is so. You know, you're told when you pray, believe that you have already received that for which you're asking. And you will. Already received. You walk away with it or you don't. It's that simple. But it is a demand.
You know, I like that you made the decision when you stated that there is a demand. I could say a decision. People talk about changing states, but the truth of the matter is, as you stated earlier, people change their mind all the time, and they're changing their mind for something as simple as what they're going to have for breakfast, but they're not seeing their future as taking place now. Would you agree?
They think it's impossible, that they can actually change their life. They think that's impossible, but they can, and they do, and they are. The idea is for you to catch yourself in the act of setting yourself up or setting yourself free, and you're doing that in your own conversations. Isn't that right?
It is right, and I like that you use the word impossible because many people believe just that. I was in a Facebook group recently, and somebody said that they were destitute, that they were ill, and that, you know, they didn't have anything and that they would never have anything. And it grieved my spirit so because I knew that that person did not have to be locked into that state. She believed that she had to.
Do you know what you should have said? You're absolutely right. Come back when you're ready to change it.
And you know, that's the reality. Is some people may listen to that and they may say that sounds cold or whatever. But that's the key. It was the key to my own change. For years, there were things that I wanted, that I desired, and I didn't believe that I could have them. And it wasn't until I made a conscious change to begin to have those things that those things begin to manifest. But before that, it didn't happen and couldn't happen. So it goes back to what you said. Come back when you're ready to change your state of consciousness.
Well, that's it, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, that's what we're looking for, isn't it?
It is.
Those who are wanting to change something in... Look, I'm talking to the audience. I said, does someone want to say why they're here? And you see people kind of looking side to side to see if anybody's raising their hand, I guess. But you see, we all are here for the same reason, for the absolute same reason, and that is how to cause desired change in our world of experiencing. And I said desired change because we know there's always going to be change. This is a world of ideas, attitudes, and change. But understand, it's a change if you make the change in your own mind. Otherwise, it's as within, so without. your world on the without is actually secondhand. It was only first as idea in your own head. And if you would stop and really check on what you're thinking about, you'll know where you're going, because you're always thinking ahead of your evidence. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And it goes back, you stated that it's always an ideal in your head. But in that ideal, eventually it has to become a decision that you're ready to follow through with. Is that correct?
That's like science fiction. There's no fiction. Where's fiction? Thinking makes it so, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why we have all these varying attitudes, assumptions, and moods all throughout the humanity, is because it is our own personal thinking and feeling. Now, the ideal is to get everybody on the same page, and then everything takes care of itself. But you're responsible. See, you're responsible to know. And that's what it is you're going to suffer, is that you know it, but you won't recognize it. And you recognize it by sitting in the silence and listening to what you hear and run it over and over in your mind. And that's also how you get the things. And I'm not here to get things. I'm here because I got things. and everybody should have things because God said so. He said all you do is ask, and we're told we receive not because we ask not. So what is it that you're thinking about morning, noon, and night? Is it worthy? Then stick with it. But if it isn't, drop it. Wouldn't you say that was a good idea?
I would say that, and it made me go back to something that you often say. We're not here to tell you what to think, but that you're thinking, and because you're thinking, to be more aware of what it is that you're thinking. Would you agree?
Yeah, that just kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. Well, but what it is that people will agree with you when, like, we give this talk and they'll listen to it and they agree with so much of this stuff. But then, do they actually put it into practice? Are they waiting for someone to show them how to put it into practice? See, because that's something they do themselves. You can tell them how, but you can't do it for them. And that's what they're looking for. They're looking for someone or some organization or something to belong to that's going to do it for them. It doesn't work that way. It's a first person, present, like you said, we're called one at a time, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there you are. You're told that you're being included 100%, but you have to claim. You have to claim it. It's you. It's yours. But it does have to be claimed. Otherwise, you won't recognize it. And that's what we need to do. We need to recognize the things that God is telling us are our own property, but we have to claim it. See, if you have a piece of property, you get a paper of claiming it, don't you?
You get a deed, absolutely.
Deed, yeah. See, and right now I got a whole thing going on about a deed. So it's quite a process, really. But the thing of it is that you have to claim what you want. And here's the thing. You're on all the time, claiming something all the time. But what are you claiming? Oh, damn this, oh, damn that, and all. See, those are words that must be accounted for. I mean, come on, you have to make an account for those words that you're using. So wouldn't it be a good idea to kind of check up on what your inner conversations are about? They're your life, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah, it's your life. You're thinking your life. You're always thinking ahead of your evidence. You're thinking your life into being. Now you can choose other people at fault for things that are happening to you, but see, that's one of those falsehoods. There are no other people making your life miserable. You're doing that yourself, in yourself. That's the reason for telling you, go in the closet, close the door, and when you're alone, there, speak to your Father. Because who are you going to speak to? Other people? Well, most of them will just deny what you're saying is goofy. And I heard that not too long ago. And I thought it goofy, the big long ears and all that. Oh, but you see, the thing of it is, people have to take it serious, but they also have to have a sense of humor. Because believe me, just look at the world. Do you think God hadn't have a sense of humor?
Speaking of sense of humor, somebody had a post on their one of their pages, Facebook pages, and it was about a lady who had not smiled in 30 years. Now, the thing was, she didn't have any wrinkles, but she looked miserable. And I'm like, was that the payoff? That you don't smile for 30 years, so no, you don't have any wrinkles, but you look miserable.
Yeah, well, what about a little after those 30 years? Yeah, I have more wrinkles. Yeah, no, I think it's really a big decision if you allow ego to run the show. Wouldn't you say?
I would.
Yeah, because, you see, ego really doesn't care what happens to you as long as he gets his way. And believe me, I know I'm talking to it as another person, but actually it's you in a constant battle with this ego. But you can put him aside and quiet him, and you can do this if you're paying attention. Otherwise, he runs amok. And believe me, I catch him running amok every now and then.
We all do, and most of us don't even realize that that's what's happening because ego is running the show, and we think that this is how life is supposed to be, in the misery, the chaos, and everything that we're experiencing. Would you agree?
Yes, I would, because that's what you're surrounded by, other people's egos, which you emulate, usually unaware, because that's that subtle thing that you take in consciousness that you're not really aware of all the way, enough to really recognize what you're thinking about. But that's the point. The point is you becoming a better director of your own inner conversations, because that is your lifestyle. And you can deny it because most of the world does deny it, but look at most of the world. You know, you have to be happy to be happy. Do you know how to be happy? And you can be happy without things because it's all right there with you. All the help you need is nearer than hands and feet. Isn't that what you're told?
Absolutely.
And if all the help you need is nearer than hands and feet, who do you have to go to?
No one.
See? That the only reason we're here is because we just want you to be awake enough to carry on for yourself. And that's what we're giving you. We're giving you our experiences, and that's a first-person present tense experience for everyone sooner or later. But why wait? I did that. I waited. And I know everybody does wait because they're waiting for something, but they're really... Ask them, well, what are you waiting for? And then, and I literally get that sometimes. Yeah, but that's it. Look, if all you have to do is just entertain yourself lovingly and of good report, because that's what you're told. Think on things that are lovely and of good report. And can't you fill your day thinking about lovely things? But that's not being realistic. That's being realistic. The other is a bad dream. And you don't need to go there, but for some reason, it sure attracts a lot of people, doesn't it?
It does. And it goes back to what you were saying a moment ago. You said, you have to be happy in order to be happy.
Yeah.
You have to be the state that you want to be in order to be that state. If you want to be abundant, you have to clothe yourself in a state of abundance. If you want to be healthy, you have to clothe yourself in a state of healthiness. If you want to attract the ideal partner, you have to clothe yourself as being worthy to have that ideal partner. If you always believe that, nobody will ever want to be with me, then that's what you're going to get is a whole bunch of nobodies that want to be with you. Would you agree?
I do, and I'll tell you, it's really very simple to have a good life. And that's what you're supposed to have, is a good life. But you were given choose this day. And only you know how you've chosen because you're experiencing it. So there is a question and an opportunity to change your mind and change your world. Because if you're not enjoying life, look, you can't fake it. You can't fake. You can't dress that up. You have to actually be happy to understand being happy. And everybody has moments, at least, of really being happy. And that's what you want to always go back to. It's those moments when you were really happy. Not what you were happy about, but that you were happy. And just think about it for a moment. And it's like a situation poolside at somebody else's house. And it was a very funny situation. But it brings out the point again and again that we ourselves set our measure. What is your self-measure? How do you stack up? Not against someone else, but for yourself. Because it's a self-enrisen drama. So are you making progress? Are things getting better? And if they're not, why not? You're given to make them as you see they are. But if you're not seeing it correctly, then you could live a miserable life thinking you're being successful, but not. Because people think money is success, but it isn't. It is not the peace, the calmness that you wish to have inside, in yourself. And when you have that peace of mind, imagination will think only on things that are lovely and of good report. And that's the life you'll be living because you're always thinking ahead of your evidence. So there it is, kind of laid out the way I experienced it. But you may experience it a little different, as I experienced it different than Neville did, but it's still the experience. And you'll know that you know first person because you're given to know first person. You got to show up, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And I like that you said that money does not ensure happiness. But true happiness comes when you have peace and calmness. And we've seen so many people in the last few years that have been extremely wealthy and commit suicide. So the truth is, if money was the end-all in all, then because they had all this money, suicide should not have even been an option. But money didn't bring them the happiness that they thought that they would have, and thus they ended their life. So, but it is true. People who have peace and calm and awareness of being, those are the people, no matter how wealthy or how poor they are, that really, truly discover what happiness means. Would you agree?
Yes, I would. And in Korea and in South Korea, the people there, ones that I was being shown all around, they were poor. They were living on survival mode, and yet they were happy. They were joking, laughing, and they were happy. And they didn't have, I don't even think they had money. They barter, and that's the way they survive. But it's an experience that the rich people have not had, and I agree with them. But the thing of it is, you can learn the experience without actually experiencing. Well, you still have to experience it, but you don't have to experience it in a way that you're uncomfortable, because you're given choose this day, and you can choose to be comfortable and still inform yourself with the messages that we've been sharing with you for a long time now, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's all the individual really just being serious about watching what their own inner conversations are bringing them to. And I can tell you very simply what you're getting. You're either setting yourself up or setting yourself free. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it goes back to when you're speaking about happiness and so forth, and of course you got that person out there that says, you must be realistic and you can't be happy all the time. But what you will often say, and I agree with it, but more is better. Would you agree?
That's the word, more. More is better. That's it. Just a little more, and you get a little improvement. And when you get a little improvement, you'll look for a little more. And that's how you get the self and risen drama ongoing. And it should be ongoing. And you should be ongoing in it and thinking from it as being, I am that, the success I want to be, whatever that is to you. And it is. It will be. It can't not be, because God said so. So participate. You see, that's all you're not doing. You're not participating in your own behalf. And if you were, you'd be successful at it, because God's no respecter of persons. He'll help you just as quick as he'll help anyone else. And that's the same with healing. He says, physician, heal thyself. That's not a slap in the face to the doctor. He's telling you the physician is with you. Jesus is you, being whatever name you have. But he gave you choose this day. So he says, I suffer with you, but you behold me not. So he's right there with you. God is right with. I have a lot of people saying, "Oh, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that." and then the one he says, it's really very simple. It says, "Be still and know I'm God." What else do you need to know? I'm with you always. Will never leave you. Omnipresent. I suffer with you, but you behold me not. How close do you want to be? You see, that's just it. You're not close to God. You are with him right now. You could be sitting on his lap because he is you, and you are sitting on your own lap. You're your own father. But there's a little training trip in between. and to give you time to get a sense of humor.
You said that often you will tell people that God is with them and within them, and they would say, don't tell me that.
Yeah.
And that's because most people have been indoctrinated to see a God of judgment.
Yep.
You understand what I mean? And so since we see a God of condemnation and judgment, we say, well, there's no way that I want God to see everything that I do. But what they fail to recognize is not only does he see it, he's doing it with you.
That's right. He's the power. If he didn't do it, it wasn't done.
Absolutely.
So you say you want proof? Well, there it is. If he didn't do it, it wasn't done. That, you see, the only thing we really have to make a mindset for is the fact that there is only God. That's it. There's only God and what he's doing. And what he's doing is dreaming the dream, humanity. And he gave you instructions on how to live comfortably. You have to make yourself acquainted with the ideas that he gave you. He tells you, as within, so without. And we tell you that this is a shadow world. So it's your world of experiencing, not God's. But he's with you because he gave you choose this day. And aware or unaware, you're doing so. All we're trying to make you aware of is that you have choice. You have choose this, and it's always this day. So be aware and be comfortable. Or be unaware. That can be anything from uncomfortable to disastrous, but it's always up to you. You have the gift. It is a gift. It's not something you earn. The gift. Use it wisely, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And as we're speaking of that gift of choice, many people want to know that how can they know what it is that they're choosing? Your experience, whatever you're experiencing at the moment, is the byproduct of your choice.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely. That's it.
Change your choice, change your experience. Would you agree?
Absolutely. That's it. And all you have to do is just be involved in doing so. Not just thinking so, not reading so, not listening to someone else tell you it's so. Do it. It says do a thing. It doesn't say try it. It says do a thing, and you shall, that shall, have the power. Not a power, the power. So that gives you highway speed, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You know, and the challenge that I see oftentimes is getting people to get to the place of becoming doers of what it is that they say that they believe.
And that's
Would you agree?
That's it. That's the whole idea. If you believe it, do it. I mean, how else are you going to experience it unless you're doing it? And if you're not doing it, well, then you've just denied yourself. And believe me, God's not denying you anything. All that whining and crying and making promises that you'll never even keep, but all of that, when you think you're praying, you're not praying. And even if you are, you're not praying to God. Because he says, who are you? I don't know you. And he don't want to know you. He don't want to know you in that frame of mind, that you're lesser than, because you're not. But you'll pretend to be. And why? Who knows? That's like being the tough guy in the gang. You know. Why? What does it get you? You have to reason all these little things out for yourself. Because until you do, they're in there, but they have no direction. And they're scattered. And it tells you that my people are scattered. I know what it is to be scattered because I was scattered. And I didn't enjoy it. But I kept on doing so because I didn't know about change your mind and change your will. But when I did, I thought, well, that sounds simple enough. So I tried it. And what I found out is that I couldn't sit still. I couldn't be still. How can I know God? Because it says, be still and know that I'm God.